But man, Atoka had looked so good that match, and on this skill curve, which relatively to all of us is actually just a straight line. It's amazing how some of these teams will actually take a team that looks great and make them look not competitive, right, in these matchups. So I'm interested not to see one of these teams prevent the other from looking really good, but to see the moments that these teams make each other not look good. Does that make sense? Is that rude? Oh my goodness, is that terrible to say as a caster? Oh, what am I on?
No, I don't think so. I think it's appropriate. You know, we're here at the Nationals. These are the top teams for a reason, and they need to play as such. They need to play as the top dogs in their region, and it's going to be
Mhm.
understood as we go ahead and hop on in to this first control point. Though it is going to be Bishop Kelly on that blue side to kind of kick things off and to hopefully have a very nice time. But for DCG, they themselves are having a rough one as Helix actually rotated in. I believe Helix is. I think Helix was here before. If so, either way, it's going to be the Widowmaker, which is a vastly different call down, but a great snipe number one.
Yeah. That's a really good opening pick on this angle that Helix had opted for. There's still a lot of pressure that Flare has to navigate through, and you don't have Jumpy on the board to help equalize it. And some pretty steep advantages accumulating here for DCG, but Bishop Kelly is holding the line down here as the point is going to slowly and then eventually ramp up into control of Dallas Center Grimes. There's still pickoffs that need to be secured and point that needs to be controlled. A couple of picks here from Bishop Kelly will enable that. Echo Dift being eliminated is a huge deal, and there's going to be some efforts to stall here on the point, but as additional pickoffs come in from Coop, which is eventually traded, the point will flip.
And I think this is the right call. Helix actually opting for that Widowmaker is actually making it very difficult for Coop to actually stay in the high flyer mode. We mentioned before, Bishop Kelly were very, very comfortable when it came to control with the Pharah Mercy combination with the Pharmacy. And that's actually
Mm-hmm.
forced to swap. So Sagi is now actually on the Mercy,
Whoa.
but Coop has actually swapped into that Maze. So already that Widowmaker has yielded some results. But of course, with the touch number 2, Bishop Kelly are going to try and do the best that they can in ensuring that they're the victors at the end of the day. As right now, that's going to be the Terror Surge going forward.
Ooh, there's a Kitsune Rush to play in as well, and Jumpy's able to use a little bit of the rest of the team's resources to find that opening pick onto String Cheese. They're going to respawn, but Echo, Dift, and Rally are now respawning with, or rather, on a different wave from them, and so this Widow Infrared Sights is not going to be very long-lived as we seek to equalize the pressure. Oh man, Orbital, you and I have talked a lot about the tank matchups today, but now actually we possibly get a really interesting relationship between the tank matchups and the sojourns behind them. Jumpy and Helix being able to be the causes of concern for these tank players who have to be strong against the insane damage output that Sojourn can do. What do? Well, if you're Bugsy, you end up forced into a wall and you need the rally to help bail you out, but pushing into this corner yields a really nice, clean
Oh.
fight for Overwatch by Overwatch standards. Holy smokes, look at that participation.
Yeah, DCG really, really comfortable with that one, and Rally was able to pump it
Mhm.
out here, and Bishop Kelly were just like, "Oh dang, yeah, we shouldn't have been there." Now, granted, you pulled them off the point very quickly, so you were able to kind of turn it around. Either way, though, Bishop Kelly were still able to pump up to 67%. And remember, for Bishop Kelly, they'd expended their ults a little bit earlier as well, so that's what we're going to be watching for here is the ult turnaround that Bishop Kelly are going to try and throw down to take control of the point and take this round 1 here in map number 1 as well.
Oh
Oh,
my
what
goodness,
an
what a massive
EMP!
EMP. Yeah, you're going to have to wait a little bit longer for that one, if not even to reset with the team to stabilize in this position, which might be difficult to stabilize in. Although you're definitely on a comp to help you do so. The Maywall buys you a little bit of time, but we haven't abandoned this angle yet. Bishop Kelly still possibly looking to test their luck and try their hand here from this angle. The point is going to equalize in objective progress, and you still have ultimates on both sides, but this is a really tenuous, harrowing push here along coast side. You could get booped off or possibly annihilated, and there's the Ramatra ult coming into play as you lose Soggy and Messenger goes down as
Oh,
well. I would imagine the call is to die and get out. There's one last shot to push.
yeah, that was clean yet again coming out of DCG. And we mentioned for DCG last time, it felt like they were just kind of weathering the storm before. This time they're in much more controlling fashion. And with the orbital ray behind, though, this is going to be that test. You can see Bishop Kelly forcing their way into point. Brutal from the skies. DCG are saying, hey, no matter what, we still take that victory. We held you to the choke point and we win.
I hate those moments, Orbital, where where buffoons like myself kind of reach these incidental kind of witless moments of clairvoyance where earlier you and I were talking about how good these teams look against other teams and each other and how can look against each other. And again, expectations, they're not totally subverted, not thrown out the window, but they're definitely not as correct as we might have expected. I really love that. I really like that this match is already, from round 1 to 2, as entertaining as we thought it was going to be.
Yeah, this is... I mean, I'm hoping to see even more from Bishop Kelly. I don't want to see another 3-0 that we've seen before, but it could be that changeup. And again, if there's anyone to really challenge back, it's Bishop Kelly themselves. Right now, they're getting punched in the face, it feels like. DCG, I don't know what they're doing, but they're actually taking the HP bars quite heavily. However, Rally stepped up a little bit too far, and it looks like they were eliminated so quickly.
Yeah, and it might be a little bit bold to consider pushing this choke point and continue holding the rest of Dallas Center Grimes back. But you're really only doing so long enough to find control of the objective. You haven't built up ults on either side, but Messenger 126 on Bishop Kelly is getting really close to that concerning rush. That's going to be a really nice trigger pull and a great call to action for the rest of the squad. Dallas Center Grimes probably has a read on that is happening here soon. Pugsy actually drops off the high ground and might begin holding point. That's the go key for Bishop Kelly to push into the core of Dallas Center Grimes and not the point, which is an interesting relationship by itself. Flair is able to find a couple of really important eliminations, and ultimately Pugsy is going to end up right back in the core of their team, but there's actually no team to be in the core of. However, there's some really meaningful objective progress that has attained. It seems as if both teams made some pretty hefty sacrifices.
Yes, they did, but at the end of the day, the sacrifices worked in favor of Bishop Kelly. That was a really nice run by DCG for about 33%, but the ultimate charges are going to be on their hands. Bishop Kelly are going to say, hey, we have 2, maybe a 3rd in bank if we need to, and we need this first engagement to really, really work out here. Namely, on that Ramattra, you're hoping to stand front and center, but a swap to Soldier 76 might be the call down. Coop, though, denying any turret buildup by Echo.
Oh my goodness, and that's a lot of damage uptime that you would really like to have from that Torbjorn, right? You're coming up on the Molten Core and a couple of other ultimates as well. It might not matter because you are able to take advantage of an empty objective and flip that point control. Dallas Center Grimes going to be reestablishing their lead, but only in terms of objective progress, not as far as the ult economy goes.
Yeah, it's been a test and a half, and there it is. DCG go ahead and gather up that point once again. For Bishop Kelly, though, we're still waiting for that big opening moment. What a Terra Surge, though, chasing into the midst. Let's see if anything else comes of it.
Oh, it's going to force the Terror Surge, and the Annihilate comes as well, because you want that armor refresh. Flair buying themselves more damage uptime, more damage mitigation, but ultimately, both of the ultimates, the big tank ultimates, have actually just scattered the opposing teams. The adversity's formation is scattered on either side, and that means that you end up with a lot of loneliness for these tanks, and it's so lonely in the Abyss. But the thing about loneliness is that it opens us up for eliminations. Coop finds a pick across a high ground fire onto Helix there, and that's a really big pick. Ultimately, it's still not enough for Bishop Kelly to really work with. They have to pull more triggers. There's the overclock. This ends now, Jumpy is saying as they jump into the action. Coop also has to cast the Blizzard. Snowball, in effect, brings this into a 6v4, and now Point can start flipping back, but that's not the end of the opposition here from Dallas Center Grimes, who makes one last push from Echo to reset with the team and hope that they can retake in time.
Yep, I mean, I think they can. They have more than enough waiting in the bank, and honestly, you're just kind of waiting for Helix to come online yet again. Yes, the ultimates aren't really there. Pugsy's been doing so well juggling and having that Terror Surge ready to go. Can the rest of the team get behind it, though? For Bishop Kelly, you need to hold out. You need to know it's coming, so are you going to call it out? Are you going to be able to delay? Flair's taking a little bit low.
Oh, and Flair's gone now. There's a tank disadvantage on the objective for Bishop Kelly. That's where you really like these Mei cooldowns in particular. But there's the wall, there's the ice block, and there's the turret up as well. It's going to force us from being able to use the Kitsune Rush as effectively as we want. Messenger wants the space to do the healing, but ultimately the only picks that are being secured are on the turret. Ultimately, Jumpy is able to get Helix, but the point has flipped, and they had to buy enough time for the tanks to come back out. Now the tanks can war with each other, but you're losing the pressure and the sustain from both sides. Ew, and the tanks have to pop off, seriously. Flare has to go in and int to create the space, and Pugsy has to do way more than you would think a horse should be able to while attached to the cart. But when the dust is settled, it's Bishop Kelly who still manages to hang on to the objective. You're going to get one last touch here, though, from Dallas Center.
I mean, we mentioned before, Bishop Kelly are making sure that they can play on all 10 toes, and they're going to do it yet again. Overclock, ready to go, ramming through Pugsy's HP, but Rally is going to rally back as hard as possible. Flare is going to do their best to battle it out. The HP bars are bleeding in both directions, and Flare at 99% ready with the ult as Soggy rallies the troops, and it's enough. Dallas Center Grimes are not there in time, and Bishop Kelly scrap with the best to push us to a round number 3.
Scrap indeed. Oh my goodness, scrap indeed. Look at this. Look at the scoreboard. Right, it's actually it's not quite so decisively in favor of our tank heroes that are on this chessboard. And oh man, is checkmate really hard to identify. You hear me getting lost in some of these fights, Orbital, as I jump from detail to detail in an effort to understand how the overarching narrative of these fights really play out. When the fact is that it is pure entropic mayhem. And oh my god, is that why I love Overwatch so much? It must be part of it. And it also means that oh man, I hate being right. It actually scares me when I'm right, Orbital. And it's actually you and me who are both right here. This is a 1-to-1 already. It feels like we've been here for kind of ages already, watching these teams war with each other. And it's just the first it's just the first map.
Yep, it's just the first map, but you know there's more in store, so both Bishop Kelly and Dallas Center Grimes don't want to burn out just yet. They need to make sure that they keep enough in the tank for a little bit more, but the first turn is already in favor of DCG. DCG turning the point and getting that percentage going, and we're going to keep eyes to see if that out-of-position action has forced them into danger territories. Rally and String Cheese are a little bit low. They're jumping back with the rest of the team. But Bishop Kelly, they're just biding their time. They're saying, let's go ahead and get the ult charges, and then we'll spin around for an all-out engage.
Yeah, playing a little bit of the poke war, trying to play into the kind of the way that the map plays before playing into the way that their comp plays. But the timing might not quite sync up. Rally is able to trade for Soggy, and Echo Dift does go down, so some of the pressure that you would be able to get on an angle that isn't directly in front of the Ramatra here is gone, but Flare doesn't really have to worry about the Tracer, it's the horse, and while you're tangled up with the Orisa, it's actually Rally who's coming in with the damage. Who needs Echo? Well, okay, hold on, guys. DCG needs Echo Dift, but not in that particular fight, not when you have the supports there to offer the healing utility and also the threatening damage.
Yep, that threatening damage has now been left into the hands of DCG, as this is Bishop Kelly just going, hey, we tried to throw everything and now we're in trouble. Flare bouncing away as Pugsy has the ult ready to go. We're watching Pugsy right now just be that tank calling out where everyone is. We're watching Coop and Messenger, and they're not in position. Jumpy as well on the Sojourn is not going to like this corner rounding, and that forces out the block. That's the center stage once again for the Terrace Surge, and it's so simple. Thankfully, everyone from Bishop Kelly is able to run, but not Flare in time. So DCG route the tank, route more and a half, and Bishop Kelly all fall.
They do. Oh my goodness, and look at this. Look at the way the time flies when we're having fun in this Total Mayhem. Well, it's not the actual Total Mayhem game mode, but it might as well look like it. And we're 93% and counting, and you won't see Bishop Kelly have an easy touch to this objective. You may not see it at all, even on some of these characters that are meant to traverse that distance rapidly. You saw how close Coop was to the objective. We had our Frog on their skates ready to roll out. And ultimately, the match is rolling in favor of Dallas Center Grimes, at least so far. But remember, Orbital, this is only map 1. Holy smokes, this is only map 1. Oh, what a...
Yeah.
Oh, S-tier skin. We passed the skin check.
Yeah, I mean, it's only right that Rally gets a little bit of a punch in there, and they did quite well for themselves. Bishop Kelly and DCG are both showing that they are able to tangle with the best of them. And it makes me very happy. Again, we mentioned that we don't want just kind of that one-sided beatdown. Northview is watching this going, yeah, I mean, I hope that they're a challenge at the end of the day, right? So I'm happy that we did get a 3-round map one. Now, what does that tell us? It means both teams are very scrappy, and I feel like both teams are very ultimate heavy. We mentioned the whole reason that it felt like Bishop Kelly were able to bite back was a little bit of ultimate training on round number 2. They were able to keep themselves in good positioning, and they staggered them appropriately. But at the end of the day, DCG, who we mentioned went all 3 games in the match that we watched them yesterday, and they actually lost out on that one. They still had very good primary fires. It just maybe was a little bit of that mental gap where they let themselves get a little bit winded, and they felt a little bit lost, and they lost their concentration factors. So moving into the series, I really hope DCG can continue to show us strengths.
Actually really like the way that you say that. Because I think that you're absolutely correct. There were moments where I think for both teams actually, where we see something else happening, we know of some other goings on, and kind of we fool ourselves. I call it self-deception. We fool ourselves into thinking that I have to go do this. I need to do this thing. When really, like, bro, you know who I'm saying, it, like, needs to go do something or has to be a part of something is my shonen anime protagonists, right? I'm putting them on the job because I know that eventually in the story they're going to be able to do so. But we aren't shonen anime protagonists. We're just regular people with a team behind us, right? And
Yep.
ultimately, getting lost in some of these fights, thinking I have to, I will, I can, right? Instead of, ooh, I just want to be on the same timing and on the same part of the map as my team. Sometimes that can trick us. So you're right. I think that absolutely in in this nerve-wracking match, it's possible that we're getting a little bit lost in these moments where we realize we can do something, but where we actually should be just making sure that the rest of our team is being kept in check.
Yeah, they got to go ahead and make sure that they are set to go for the upcoming games as well. We're set to go on a hybrid map setup, and I'm gonna be taking a look at this and going, okay, for Bishop Kelly, if you go ahead and win this out, then you go ahead bring it right back to a kind of a net zero. At the end of the day, then you get to look for a chance at victory, even in a mini reverse sweep. But for DCG, I think specifically, they themselves are going, look, we're actually looking past this because we talked about one of the matches that we saw them lose, and that was specifically against Northview. Northview beat them 2-1. That was a squad that we literally watched take down DCG. So DCG, yes, they're facing off against Bishop Kelly right now, but DCG, I think, are also honing in on we want revenge. So when you talk about that mental difference, when we talk about that difference in between, I think for DCG, it's much more, you can't get ahead of yourselves. I know you're up 1, but it was a tough match. So you can't be looking past your opponent. You have to be looking in the present right now. Take that step and then take a step afterwards once you complete the series.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely correct. It's a long day for our Overwatch competitors for sure. Best of 5 series, the possibility of playing in 2 matches, which is already a lot of Overwatch, guys. 5 maps over 3 potential that from yesterday up to. That's a lot of Overwatch, and holy smokes, that's a lot of thinking. I've seen a lot of very proud parents, teachers, friends, and staff in the channel continue to show our all of our esports, our young talented esports athletes with tons of celebration as they come out and compete for. I mean, actually, Orbital. This is kind of for bragging rights. The LOS Nationals is a great chance for all of the top competing high school teams from all of the states. I think that there are 10 state high school esports leagues actually that League OS helps to facilitate, and you're competing for national bragging rights, and that's not a trophy. That's not a huge prize pool, but oh man, that's big. That brings a big old giddy smile to my face thinking about many millions of years ago when I was a high school young punk. Man, I would have loved being a part of something like this. So continue to shower all of our competitors with a ton of acknowledgement and recognition as we prep for this Kings Row match. Orbital, are you surprised that it's Kings Row?
No, I'm not. honestly, it's always like a 9 times out of 10 situation that we're going to see it. So it makes sense. And we're really happy. Of course, we're taking a look at some of the stained glass as out the gates. We're going to see DCG if they can battle their way in. And we know how long a hybrid can go. We know how long an escort map can go. For Bishop Kelly, it's all about holding them down here. Now, they had a little bit of struggle. It felt more like an old game. So DCG coming out of the gates really comfortably. Helix on a little bit of piece, plus rally behind. But Pugsy, we're going to be watching to see, if they can step up here to the test. But String Cheese already eating up a lot of that damage.
Yeah, that's a lot of pressure to sustain here, but also Bishop Kelly have found themselves in a position on Kings Row that is very hard to do anything from. You see how Gizmo ends up going down, and the rest of the formation is going to start struggling from there because of the lack of, or the lesser amount of healing. With that lesser amount of healing, DCG is able to start rolling in as a tide, a wave that overcomes any opportunity to defend. Dallas Center Grimes may have been able to maintain over this first point choke. They're going to yield the objective, and I'm sorry. Oh my goodness, that Bishop Kelly had to defend. They're going to yield the objective
Yep.
and now have to defend Street's phase. Losing the first fight isn't too bad though, or losing the objective of the first fight isn't. It's not the worst thing on Kings Row.
No, I mean, we've seen it before, right? We've seen situations like this occur. It's not out of this world. It's not the worst thing to have happen. What's the worst thing to have happen is you get stuck in the early entryway. As soon as you pass that archway, we've seen teams get stuck there. We've seen them round, I think, U-Bend 2, and then over at checkpoint 1. Those are like the three major factors. And then the fourth over between checkpoint 1 and 2, where we go ahead and see, that U-turn, or not U-turn, the right turn in the mix. So there are a couple different spots. Right now, DCGs say there is no stopping us. We will win every single time, and it's Jumpy that's at a loss as Bishop Kelly roll through fight number 2.
Yeah, absolutely incredible the way that Dallas Center Grimes have sustained their aggression. They've got ultimates to come into this next fight, but that hasn't kept Bishop Kelly from generating the ults themselves. You're gonna have a really messy fight ahead. You've said it really brilliantly, Orbital. Scrappy, kind of ult-heavy engagements, and I'm sure that it's not long to see the Annihilates pulled here. It's actually going to be the EMP that starts this fight. There's a Kutsuna Rush to play in, but there's nobody of Bishop Kelly to play in this Kutsuna Rush. It's actually not an annihilation. It is a total obliteration from Pugsy over the Bishop Kelly formation. Holy, I don't even know how you disintegrate that fast. And I'm a support player. I've seen it happen in real time before.
Yeah, that was just DCG out-skilling, out-diffing, right? Like, this is Bishop Kelly getting a little bit lost in the sauce, and they're having some struggles. Honestly, DCG has shown no time wasted from start to finish, and Echo specifically is running the show. Another catch on the Messenger. You get a quick reset on the back end from Flare, but for Bishop Kelly, I don't think you're going to like that. You only have about a fight and a half left. You need to get back on the field ASAP.
Oh man, that might be even a little bit generous, Orbital, to say a fight and a half. I think you actually have half of a fight here. And lots of ultimates with which to push out of, but the trigger pulls have been initiated first on the side of Dallas Center. They start with the Coalescence. There's the Orbital Ray. You're keeping the healing uptime sustained and not even giving an opportunity to use the ultimates from the side of the defenders. They are able to push some elements of the formation of DCG back, but ultimately, there's so much damage that Dallas Center is capable of dealing from so many different positions that only your Blizzard can possibly save things. Is the Blizzard out in time in this fight to salvage this objective? It doesn't seem so. The Blizzard, it is a glorified space creation tool, and ultimately with 4 minutes in the bank, the objective will rest as capture point. Orbital, that one was, oh wow, what a frenetic pace that was established.
I mean, DCG came out the gates swinging. I don't think Bishop Kelly were ever in time. They were playing about 30 beats behind, and that's a problem at the end of the day. Really, really nice job by Dallas Center Grimes to go ahead and take the first attack, and now they got to defend for 4 minutes, and that's it. Bishop Kelly need to show that they got the same type of fire, and I'm really looking at Coop. I believe Coop played this before and was able to roll out with a little mix-up beforehand. This is the map that I think they swapped off of the FAR and actually opted for a little bit more ground game, a little bit more comfortable in that mix, and we'll see if they do so here yet again. Yeah, they used the May before, so we'll see if it works. Namely, though, for Dallas Center Grimes, if you can use Echo to continuously hack out that backline, Bishop Kelly are always going to be, that beat behind, as we said. And I use that a little bit too much. But Dallas Center Grimes, I don't know what changed from games 1 to 2. They look far more comfortable moving into this series than they did back in the group stage. They look phenomenally placed.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. Their formations are really clean. Their engage timings are really good as well. Bishop Kelly is, Bishop Kelly isn't having their potential occluded by DCG though. I actually think that if we could see them be just as comfortable on these trigger pulls as Dallas, I think that they end up looking really good. King's Row attack is a really great opportunity to get some wind back behind your sails, proverbially speaking. I don't think any of these kids are actually playing on a boat. So even though this first team wipe is, well, kind of a wipe from Helix's very well-placed crossbow bolts, you don't have to worry about losing that. You can just shrug it off, shoulder past some of this damage, some of the weight on your shoulders, and seek to open up opportunities. I think, again, Orbital, I think it's off the back of trigger pulls. Just really fast. Let's go.
I think they're going to do so. However, this is going to be that chance back. Echo is, of course, standing on the top ground, ready with a quick hack of their own, but they feel it's not necessary, and instead, it's a bully moment by the side of Dallas Center Grimes. They're stepping into the mix, and already they force him out. They say, hey, Bishop Kelly already lost Coop, so they're going to lose a few more. Messenger with a roundabout way to take down Rally, but is it enough? Already a minute and some change burned off the clock, so Bishop Kelly not going to enjoy this one as much. Dallas Center Grimes really comfortable burn away. Bishop Kelly going to try their best to step forward. Quick hack onto Flare, though, might be enough to force them off. Jumpy, what a great shot onto Helix, though, as Bishop Kelly are finding their way around the statue. Another wall to section off the tank, and it looks like Bishop Kelly are going to get that first point.
It looks like that for now. Things could reverse if Dallas Center Grimes knows to pull their triggers. There's the rally. It'll help them possibly move out of this hotel, but they're moving out into an Orisa, and that makes things a little bit more complicated. Even though you do get touches here on this objective, Orbital, it's your clairvoyance that will probably shine here, as the objective is finally fully seized by Bishop Kelly. And oh my goodness, an insulting push of Pugsy into the spawn doors of our own Bishop Kelly team by Flare. It was a little bit funny. Ultimately, Pugsy's actually walking away from that looking A-okay, and they have Annihilate ready for the next fight.
Yep, this is perfect work, and it took a little bit by Bishop Kelly. We need to see them really step in and show their stuff. And we mentioned before that for DCG, they were comfort all the way through, lost almost no time whatsoever, won multiple team fights back to back to back, and it never felt like they were really challenged at the end of the day. Bishop Kelly are going to try and do that exact same thing. However, we have to watch the hack. The EMP can be absolutely destructive, and for DCG, they're just biding their time. Take a look at this bullet in the back, as this is going to be Helix waiting for an opportunity. Quick little call down, though, as Pugsy blocking a lot of that damage, but in they step. Orbital Ray stepping into the mix, plus a hack on the Messenger. Coop, though, with the Blizzard, is able to annihilate every single member of Dallas Center Grimes, because it sets up Jumpy for the full house team kill for Bishop Kelly.
Yo, Jumpy's looking really good off of the setup from the rest of Bishop Kelly, and man, we love to see the team mustering a little bit of confidence and leaning fully into some of these good ideas that they've got. Oh, it's absolutely marvelous. And Dallas Center Grimes, you see how they have ultimates in the bank, some of which they might have had the opportunity to really let loose with, but it's actually Bishop Kelly who is looking to establish and then mount advantages. Heading into the next fight, they're going to have a Kitsune Rush that really can continue to foster this aggression and this confidence to push through the street phase, because Orbital stopping here would be really challenging.
I mean, are they going to find that mix? Messenger opens up with the Kitsune Rush. It's going to be a bully moment yet again. What the EMP, though? Our Rally steps in with the mix, but Jumpy still firing away as much as possible because the Terror Surge was still utilized. So it's going to be a messy fight at the end of the day. Flare might be able to take over because of it, and they have. Bishop Kelly rock through the EMP, they rock through the Ramatra, and they rock their way to checkpoint 1. Echo Dift able to find one more on the back line. Still, though, clean fight from Bishop Kelly.
I love it. You will get a touch here from Dallas Center Grimes. In fact, I think Bishop Kelly ends up having to kind of step off there. I actually just barely missed if Messenger died on or off the objective. It looks like they probably died somewhere in their backline. So for Bishop Kelly, it's actually kind of a reset angle. Some like sparse one-off engagements happening around some of these corners. And you want to be really careful about not losing Coop for some of this because this is a lot of downtime ultimately for your team to be traversing the distance to the objective and setting up for this fight that you're actually just kind of like trying to harrowingly play around some of these corners and not burn through all of your resources. But that's a nice opening pick, Orbital.
It really, really is. Flair, even when hacked out, you're saying, hey, I got to create a little bit more space for the rest of the team, and we got to keep pushing. But right now, there is a stall out. Dallas Center Grinds have been able to hold the rest of Bishop Kelly in a hold, and Bishop Kelly are going to try and fire back. That is not going to work, though, because the Deadeye isn't going to connect. Instead, it's the rally from Helix. However, Echo and Rally are trying to keep themselves alive. It's going to be enough. DCG able to maintain their fight over this payload. And Bishop Kelly are all of a sudden 1 minute away from a loss. There's going to be the orbital ray coming down, but jumping yet again, denied. So DCG are going to get themselves light. There's the Terror Surge right back. String Cheese fires one, and there come the deaths. Bishop Kelly bullied out of the battle in wonderful fashion. Dallas Center Grimes with the wipe.
And only a minute in the bank now as well. 3 ultimates to help them make this minute really meaningful, with a possibility at opening up the Kings Row Foundry section, but you're playing into the adversity of a team that knows how they want to finagle their grip on this corner and who have an Orbital Ray. Still one of the most busted ultimates in the game. It's basically a team-wide nano boost that you can use to defend it. Orbital, this is actually, oh goodness, pedal to the metal for one team and and an unbreakable defense for the other. The collision is going to be explosive.
It really, really is, and DCG are bringing it home, but Flair tries to turn it around with a great swing of their own, and it looks like they missed one. Flair has gotten a second, and all of a sudden the tank rises up. However, Bishop Kelly are losing members left, right, and center all the same, but remember, when it comes to OT, it doesn't matter. Just win the dang battle, and DCG at the end are still able to pull out a massive hold. Pugsy still fighting on the point, and they win it out because Pugsy stayed alive. It is going to be GG as DCG take game 2.
Holy smoke remains in the rubble of the streets face of Kings Row from the oh man, from those devastating bouts between those two teams. Dallas Center Grimes knew exactly how they wanted to play that map. And we said very similar things. We said very, very similar things about our Northview roster that we got to see in the previous series. Is that going to be the similarity between all of the winning teams today? They just know exactly what they want to do.
I don't. Well, here's the deal. I think both teams knew what they wanted to do, and at the same time, the execution timing was a little bit off. One of the things that we did see from Bishop Kelly is at the start they were on a roll. They knew exactly how they wanted to play. They knew how they wanted to roll in to a lot of these battles. But it's the check at the end of the day, right? Hey, we are starting to win these battles. Well, all of a sudden we see a mix-up. DCGs start to change up their playstyle. They started playing a little bit further away from each other. They started making sure that they found routes around. I mean, Echo staying on the Sombra the entire time with those hacks, with that singular EMP that they utilize, there's some stuff in between there. So in my eyes, it's not so much that they know exactly what they want to do. It's about how they are actively rotating and adjusting their playstyle. To me, it's all about the dynamics and how easily can you cultivate an idea, cultivate a strategy to take down the opponent, and then bring it to fruition and take over the game. Because that's exactly what I think happened. DCG saw that they started losing on the defense, backed away, came up with a new game plan, executed, and came out with the victory.
It's terrifying to consider that it could conceivably a victory of a 3-0 variety here for Dallas Center Grimes, who are unwilling, conceivably, to let this match last so long that they are not ready or are too tired for the impending grand finals match of this Overwatch weekend of the 2025 Scholastic Nationals, powered by League OS. I would be really, I I don't think I would be worried for them though if this match went the distance.
Yeah.
I almost wonder if Dallas Center Grimes being forced to get really creative and play really differently sets them up for a potentially insanely arduous matchup versus Northview. Vice versa, Orbital, would Bishop Kelly, off the back of really leaping over the hurdle, because it is a leap and over a huge hurdle for Bishop Kelly to win this adversarial matchup, would they be set to challenge Northview? Would that be a lofty credential to help them barter their case for a championship this weekend over Northview?
That's a tough question because Northview has obviously played DCG, but I feel like this is a different DCG than back in the group stage. Number one, I
Hmm.
feel like
Oh yeah.
DCG
Oh
has actually
man.
stepped up their gameplay and really kind of battened down the hatches. One of the things that we saw for Northview specifically is they fought hard and they fought consistently, as we talked about. DCG, I think, back in their previous game, it looked a little bit messy, right? Like back in the group stage, it
Yep.
looked a little bit messy. They were kind of fighting all over the place, and it just really didn't work out, which is why Northview took it away. I think DCG, if they're playing the same style, I think they can find victories. Now, for Bishop Kelly, I have no idea. It feels like we are seeing a little bit of a different state for Bishop Kelly. It feels like their cohesion isn't really there. I mean, Coop specifically has been locked out, and it's been a struggle, right? So this Coop and Gizmo matchup where we saw the Mercy and the Farah wasn't able to be utilized to give them a little bit of a boost. It wasn't allowed, it wasn't utilized properly, and it was shut down. So for Bishop Kelly, the kind of cheese that they rolled with hasn't worked, and I don't see any other cheese in there, right? I don't see anything else that they've been able to utilize to bring about victory. So to me, if I'm looking at Bishop Kelly and you ask, hey, is Bishop Kelly ready to go? I gotta say no. I need to see them step up here in game three and run the show all the way to a map five, or else DCG are gonna get a chance at revenge into that grand finals.
Oh man. I really like the way you non-answered my question, Orbital.
Unfortunately,
um,
yes. I am making sure that I don't put myself in any hole. That is 100%
right.
what I did. You're
I gave
not
you a
even
shovel,
wrong. I did
bro.
do that.
No, 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 no. I like that you mentioned Coop and Gizmo. I almost wonder if I just want to see the Farah reemerge. I almost want to see if I almost wonder if I want to see Bishop Kelly say, you know, this hadn't worked for us in this one matchup. Let's see if we can think our way around it this one. And you know, I wonder if that's the option that you would need to take. You're playing this first Flashpoint, which I hate anyways, but you kind of have to, right? And you're starting these fights down Messenger. So what else do you do? Right? How else do you open? You know, honestly, Orbital, at one point, I wonder if it actually is Coop on the Farah that should be dying first before its Messenger. I almost wonder if the fights for Bishop Kelly are more winnable via that means.
I mean, it's all gonna come down to the players, in my opinion. Bishop Kelly just need to make sure that they get their head on right and, you know, really get back into it. Say, hey, no worries about the 0-2 position that we're in. Start with a single game, start with a single victory, and then you can push your way forward. Right now, Dallas Center Grimes, though, getting challenged on the point. They already have about 50%. If they can hold, it's going to be even better. Helix with that Soul for 76, though. Hits number one, hits number two. Both Jumpy and Messenger are gone, which pretty much solidifies the fact that Bishop Kelly aren't fighting for this point one.
No, they're not. They are, they are. Look at a read. They're kind of testing the waters a little bit. They're seeing what openings they can get away with, and what cooldowns they can force. It's the first Flashpoint. This is a great chance to be reading our opponents. This is a great chance to not give them more ults than they should. Notice how we're about to complete our first Flashpoint, but no ultimates have been generated for either side yet. And now you have picks rolling in for Bishop Kelly.
Now it is going to be that challenge, as you said, rolling into the mix, but Pugsy denies, and this OT will be very short-lived. I don't know if Coop is even close to it, but point one taken, and DCG, once again, making sure that they are in control. And is there going to be a twist of fate? Is there going to be any sort of shakeup? Honestly, I just don't see it yet. Jumpy about 92%, 8% away. Flare getting close, 30% away. Bishop Kelly are going to have to fight on even ground if they want to deal with this because Pugsy has that Terror Surge ready yet again for the battle.
Yeah, and you do have a couple of tools for Bishop Kelly to strike back at, like the Deadeye that Jumpy is surely looking to let her rip, but the wall might be more disruptive than the horse and the rally, shields in the faces, and to mitigate all of that damage, and rockets as well being cast into the fray. A double whip shot elimination for Rally this fight, and more Elems rolling through. Oh, pad the stat reel with that one, and Dallas Center Grimes is going to pad their scores with a second Flashpoint capture.
Yeah, I mean, if it was the third, it'd be over, right? Like, that would be the danger, is it's already done. But Bishop Kelly, they're going to get another chance at a fight. They have 2 ults to go. They have the Jungle Queen ult to kind of speed their way on the side if they wish, and then Gizmo can bounce back with the beat drop. It is doable to break in a sight. The question is the resounding fight afterwards going to work, and maybe it's that blizzard that they're watching for. So Dallas Center Grimes, let's see if they can hold, and let's see if they're going to find that roundabout way to win this point as well.
Ooh, that's a nice opening pick there onto Echo, and playing in the Molten Core definitely makes things dangerous, especially if you're playing on that coast side with the horse can push you off. Pugsy isn't going to push anyone off, but they are going to push Gizmo out with that Terra Surge, eliminating the speed boost that Flair wants to use to close the distance. Arguably, an even better tool to close that distance is going to be this Junker Queen Rampage, but there's too much pressure damage onto them from Pugsy and Co. to justify pulling that trigger. They're going to be sent back to spawn with the rest of Bishop Kelly, possibly yielding this second objective.
And it's crazy to think about because that was Messenger finding the earlier pick, I believe, on the Echo. That was a big thing, where it was Rally, I think. So DCG actually lost a member early, but it was Echo and Pugsy that basically said, screw it, we're going to run our way in with the Orbital Ray behind. And they just negate. So once again, Bishop Kelly are sitting on 4 ults. They can break onto this third flashpoint. They can try and find the early picks. Are they going to get it?
They're not going to get it quite yet. They have to let the objective unlock and clear their defenders. Jumpy and Messenger are going to be able to contribute towards those eliminations. A Coalescence expended to do so. 1 ultimate in this fight. Orbital is actually a really, really good position to be in.
It's a nice little spot to be already on the site. And for Dallas Center Grimes, you're really not too worried about it. That point is over and in control, but you still got time to rack up your own percentages, and I think that's what you're going to use most of this period for. Really, you're hoping to try and burn Bishop Kelly's ultimates off. Maybe you can get 1 or 2 at least, and there it is, Junker Queen going in.
There's a couple of anti-targets. String Cheese and Echo end up collapsing. Pugsy has more than enough HP to live a little bit longer than the rest of their contemporaries, but they aren't going to be able to live for long. The Terror Surge does elicit the sound barrier, but the fight has already resolved so very favorably for Bishop Kelly, who are inching their way up to the objective completion. It's a little bit skewed, though, Orbital. I feel like this objective is ramping up slower than any of the 2 previous objectives for Dallas Center Grimes. I'm going to have to call Aaron Keller into the booth to kind of answer, why does it feel like Bishop Kelly has a lot more time that they need to hold this point?
Yeah, it's for Bishop Kelly, it's all about just taking that first step. They are on that last-ditch effort over and over and over again. For Dallas Center Grimes, you're not worried, but the rally comes out, and they are actually going to fight back. So is it going to be that twist? Everyone is on top of the point here, and it's a chase, but Flair punching out Echo, who is on this Torbjorn, which is wild to say. They've been on it the entire time. I just couldn't really believe it at the end of the day. Either way, though, the turret is gone, which means this point should be over. However, the HP bars are dropping very quickly. String Cheese and Echo are able to make their way in. Flair answers back, but the HP differences are huge as Dallas Center Grimes are sent packing. And it's going to be that touch at the end of the day. Echo able to revive, get back in with the mix of the kill. And it will be a win for DCG as they turn this third flashpoint at 99%.
Yo, Orbital, isn't it insane how Bishop Kelly is holding until they just aren't, and all of a sudden the point flips over to Dallas Center Grimes, and look at how quickly the objective progress is ramping up for them. No, Aaron Keller is trolling NA right now, and the only way to, I think, close that clock a little bit, compress the time, is to get really big ultimate setups here. Oh, look at the setup. I mean, you're all set for the Rampage of the Blizzard.
Yep, this is going to be a challenge, and of course behind it's huge. String Cheese, though, with the twist of fate. It is a wash and a half, and the Blizzard, just for style, Bishop Kelly get annihilated, and DCG are 1 fight away from the grand finals.
Oh my goodness, what insane plays from String Cheese, who has already gotten some honorable mentions in our commentary of this series so far, and now you're just left with one last-ditch touch from a team that doesn't have ultimates in the bank, who hope to build the beat in time, but you're going into a Terra Search to start things off, and your defenders, your healers are out of the point. Jumpy is eliminated as well. There's the damage, the point presence, and there's the objective and the series. It's so close yet so far, because this is the second 3-0 that we've had today, but it's one that looked so incredibly harrowing. Oh man, for Bishop Kelly, it's a GG's. Oh, an absolute resolute GG's for them, because up against the opposition that Dallas Center Grimes was putting, you don't have a choice but to look a little bit panicked at times, but they still had a good enough idea of what they wanted to do to look really good in our opening and closing maps of the series. I'm ignoring Kings Row for Bishop Kelly.
Yeah, that was, I mean, it was spicy. It was that
Mm-hmm.
twist of fate, I think, at the very end where we saw DCG really come together on Flashpoint. I mean, we mentioned they are always a very aggressive team, and I think at the very end it did kind of culminate in that finish. I wasn't expecting to have almost back-to-back team kills to finish it out, but honestly, it felt like Bishop Kelly kind of lost a lot of win. They threw everything at the wall on that third flashpoint at the beginning. They rocked it out. They did well. And then DCG just kind of came back and said, cool, we're going to win either way. Sorry. Like, you don't have that choice. And it hurts. It breaks the mental very, very well. So, huge try. Huge shout out to the side of Bishop Kelly. They fought extremely hard, but DCG are going to get their chance at revenge now.
Oh, they are, and they're going to look just as good in the impending series as they did in this one. Guys, before heading off for our break, I want to remind all of us who are not already platformed on League OS for any of our esports tournaments or endeavors to head over and get started with them today. Portal.leagueos.gg so that you guys can get set up to compete with you and your talented esports athletes into the fall 2025 season for all of the various tournaments, schools, and showcases held nationally. Guys, we are going to step away for a little bit of a break, but when we come back on the other side, the grand finals of the Overwatch weekend of the 2025 Scholastic Nationals will be brought to you here by us and closing out the evening. Don't go anywhere. You aren't going to want to miss it. We'll be right back.